Oh my gosh. Okay. Douglas is here with me. But I'm going to start out because, Kat, you won't believe. McKibben sent me an email. He called. He says, "Hey, have you checked out the Daily Mail today?" And on the top headline, and we know there are cats out there that are English who have to live with this swamp called the City of London and the monarchy. So we're not talking about you individually. We're talking about your swamp. Okay, here's the headline. Trump will accept King Charles's stunning secret offer to make America part of the United Kingdom's realm. Very exciting. So I go into there, go, what in the world? Because we all know that who the British are. Now I'm hitting on this. I'm going to walk you through this article, and inside the little description box, you can click on it yourself if you want to read it. And Douglas hasn't heard it yet because I want to read this to him. Okay, so President Donald Trump on Friday indicated, now Friday, so what is today? Today is the 21st, Friday. So that would, they're ahead of us a little bit. So he indicated on Friday that he would accept an offer from King Charles to join the British Commonwealth, strengthening America's ties to the United Kingdom. Quote, "I love King Charles. Sounds good to me," close quote, Trump wrote on his Truth Social account. Trump was responding to an exclusive report published Thursday by Daily Mail Plus royal columnist Richard Eden that the king would make a secret offer to the president for the U.S. to become the next, quote, associate member, close quote, of the Commonwealth. What do you think so far, Douglas?
Well, we laughed so hard. I couldn't believe it when you said it. I just kept laughing. I said, well, the world is absurd. But that is just like, a triple-headed clown coming out on stage dancing, with Prince Charles in the middle and Camilla on one side and Trump on the other. It's just like totally the most absurd thing ever. Trump is the king of America, which makes him the king of the world. And so he doesn't need another king. And it's the opposite. The Daily Vomit, what's it called? The Daily, I forget. It always tells you the opposite. So what this means is Trump, and I'm going to tell you how this all works together, and I'm not kidding.
Well, don't tell me yet. I got to read this.
He probably offered Britain that he could be the 51st state.
Oh, you see, you took that line from me. Folks, I tell you, Douglas gets most of his material from me. Because I said, oh my gosh, Britain wants to be the 51st state of America, but they don't really know how to come and ask, hey, why are you asking Canada and why are these other countries? Hey, we got a new angle. We'll just form New World Order under Donald Trump as he makes the world America. Okay? Well, we do have a fantastic Constitution. And I just wrote a lesson plan on Aim for Truth regarding that with a fantastic lesson plan that parents, you can use with your homeschool children on American civics. Anyway, let me get back to the article, Douglas. Now, you'll notice that in the middle of this, as I'm reading, I'm going, what a preposterous headline. And oh my gosh, if Trump actually said this, I have to go hear it for myself. But it says here, Daily Mail Plus is our new subscription service that offers access to a range of brilliant, in-depth premium content from our world-leading team of journalists. Subscribe here. And so I go, oh, that's what this is. This was clickbait to get a big global audience onto their page and to subscribe to one of their propaganda rags. But anyway, then the article continues. Now, the Commonwealth, of course, where they're going to educate us on what the Commonwealth is. Those nations have a total population of more than 2.7 billion and is considered one of the world's oldest political association of states. It's made up of 56 member states, and we know all this, blah, 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 which are former territories of the British Empire. They're current territories of the British Empire. The British Empire never left. The sun never set on the British Empire. But Americans were just too dumb to see it all happen to them slowly as we were nudged into oblivion and asleep. But we're awake now, and the monarch is on notice. But I continue with the article. This Commonwealth membership is voluntary, and the group is mostly ceremonial. King Charles is the head of the Commonwealth. Okay, so the move will be widely seen as a huge boost for are you ready? The special relationship between the U.S. and the U.K. Now, I'm going to divert from this article. Remember that this relationship that we have with Britain, called the special relationship, is a lot more than what people think. It doesn't mean that we share a common language. No, this means that Britain, the U.K., the monarchy, the Pilgrim Society, literally crawled up into our government and into our operations and have been taking over it. They really never left. Okay, we think we won the American Revolution. We didn't. And then in 1913, the bankers, they all clawed in and got themselves set up with the Federal Reserve and the IRS. Then Jimmy Carter comes along, and we get the SES and the Department of Education. These British and their special relationship actually are the ones behind all of our spying networks, the FBI and the CIA. But having said that, and I know cats know it, the British must be freaking out if any of this article is true, because Donald Trump is not doing what they would expect him to do, and they at this time may not know exactly which side of the fence he's on.
When the British East India Company devolved into and took over and subsumed the British monarchy, it brought commerce with a sword into something that had its own church. King Henry VIII became his own pope. Because of his lustful desires, and the nation where the sun never set upon it, which is the United Kingdom now, 56 domains, territories, voluntary territories, complete nonsense. See what happens if any of them tries to get out of that, the entrapment. And what is a territory of Britain? That's where they went with commerce with the sword, fleeced the resources, and left an empty shell. And in many cases started an ism, and started some kind of philosophy that then controlled that nation to this very day, and then becomes part of a narrative that the imperialist white British nation has the only answer to things, and that's Cecil Rhodes' Round Table and the Rothschilds, who planned exactly how to keep control of the world through fleecing it. So here's what I say. Of the 56 nations, there's 4 of them, Britain, New Zealand, Australia, and Canada. Britain, New Zealand, Australia. And then the 5th one is us, the Five Eyes. That was created after World War II. After World War I and II, Edwin Pauli and the Dulles brothers understood that whoever controls resources and controls reconstruction controls the economy of the world. And that's what's going to happen in Ukraine soon when the reconstruction comes. And when they turn the oil pipelines back on, everything looks honky-dory because they're saving Ukraine through their really militarism. So every British country is fleeced until it's empty of all of its resources and then left in a total, it's the New World Order. For them, it's the New World Disorder. As long as everything's in disorder, they send in their British spies, and they've learned to understand propaganda so well that they've turned the British people into something that can believe the Daily Mail, the Daily Snail, that their audience are morons, and that they invert the headline to be what is the truth, which is Britain didn't invite America to be part of them. We're going to be inviting everybody else to be part of us as long as you stop your bad ways. And it will end immediately the minute Trump, as I have here in my piece of paper, a circle with a line going through it over offshore accounts. The minute that the fleeced countries, 56 of them, which includes Canada, New Zealand, Australia, have been fleeced to the max. They're not allowed guns. They have no freedom. They were the worst during the lockdown. Yes, the king demanded exactly what he wanted, and he got it in all those countries and every Commonwealth nation, so we don't want to be part of that. And Trump knows this, so that's a complete joke. But are we doing that to a lot of different things? Yes. The release of the JFK papers basically indicates, through Michael Kibben's research, every single one, I forget exactly the number, but like 166 something companies are involved with the CIA that had NGOs and fake, lovely sounding naming non-governmental organizations that were funded by the CIA. Well, everybody knows they have 2,000 companies back in the old days. And those companies, now they run fentanyl. Now that we're closing it at the north and south border, the CIA might as well just be closed down. That's their number one fundraiser. But in every other country, including throughout Africa particularly and other countries, they foment dissent, start wars to fleece resources. And they do it for all corporations for a price. They don't work out of America. That's the reason you could close it down here. It ain't going to stop it. They work out of CERN, Switzerland, and they used to work out of Azerbaijan. Now they're working out of Ukraine.
Well, I'd like to continue with the article. Okay, it gets really sweet at this point. It's taking a turn now. The Trump and the king have kept a close relationship even after Trump left the White House. Douglas, it says right here, the two exchanged letters often. I can just see little hearts happening. Isn't that very nice? Oh, so nice. Now, the Commonwealth proposal was originally floated in Trump's first term during the reign of Queen Elizabeth, who Trump adored. He adored her. Now the British are reviving the plan to extend the invitation with the hope the king will personally make the case to Trump when the president and the first lady make their state visit to the UK later this year. Quote, this is being discussed at the highest levels, close quote, a member of the Royal Common Society told the Daily Mail. It would be a wonderful move that would symbolize Britain's close relationship with the U.S. I'm telling you, here I am citing again. They're concerned. They're worried that Trump isn't on their side and Britain is being isolated as the enemy of the world. So this article is trying to get the British people to see and to have this thought that Trump is on their side.
And if you believe that, I'll sell you 2 bridges in the Bronx, okay? I'm telling you, this is the same thing as the false flags at Odessa and the false flags at the 8 ports in Ukraine on the Black Sea, which are being used as a way to pull us into a war, a NATO war, based upon a stupid treaty, which has already been violated many times, which we've pointed out, because the Brits want to pull us in. Brits always do this. After World War I and II, they saw, oh my gosh, this is so great. We get to control who gets the oil, who gets the resources, who gets the resources from the undeveloped countries, who gets to colonize and make backroom arrangements for who gets the land for like the Levant deal or the Greater Israel deal, the Zionist attempt to capture the entire Levant, which is still going on to this day. These deals have lasted 100 years, and they are absolutely as tight as they could possibly be because the British, just like this article from the Daily Snail, assumes that they pull you in for sensationalism, and then they program you through perception management by telling you so many lies that the big lie, when you go back to read it as you leave the article, you go, well, it's true. But you know it's not true. That's called propaganda.
Well, at the bottom of the article, they make this lovely statement about how the king, it says, Trump describes the king as a beautiful man, so it's just a little love fest they've got going here. But then the Daily Mail is pointing to an article that they want you to pick out, and the headline reads, Secret Offer King Charles is planning to make to Donald Trump that would make America royal again. And the royal is in big caps. Are you kidding? Do you people have no clue how America feels about the King of England, do you? We left your friggin' country back in the 1700s to get away from this tyranny. A lot of you followed us, and here we are again today. This time, the British have literally crawled up in our government and thinks that it is going to overthrow our president with this judicial insurrection we're seeing with these lower-level courts.
Well, I heard while I was in the restroom that the king is going to give Scotland to Trump, and he's going to turn it into a giant golf course after he's the president in America, and it's going to become its own country that is completely independent and sovereign, which I really think is a great idea. No, here's what's really happening. That was Could you tell that I was being snide? Anyway, here's what's really happening. JFK released. That closes the CIA. The CIA being closed is worse than closing the USAID, as I told you. There are a lot bigger fish in the sea. You close the CIA, you're talking about a multi-trillion dollar a year worldwide operation that is bigger than anyone knows. It's all off books, it's all black ops, and most of it isn't even in America. Okay?
Well, let me just say that's what Eisenhower described in his day as the military industrial complex. This is what we're taking down, folks.
Now, here's the way the fall could go, and I sure hope that it does go this way. Yes, I want Greenland, because I want that fresh water melt. Fresh water, that's not seawater. And I want the Northwestern Passage completely open to America. Yes, I want the CIA closed. Yes, I also want offshore accounts closed, because why? We are now encircling the enemy when we close offshore accounts, because King Charles is worth anywhere between 3 to 5 trillion in his offshore accounts, which are in the 56 Commonwealth countries that he basically decimated and then turned it into nothing but a bank that holds digits stolen from the countries, from basically the common people, the wealth of the common people. Commonwealth goes to the king. So the New World Order, put a circle and a line through that, because King Charles runs that through the United Nations and the World Economic Forum at this point, both of which are faltering and ready to just be pushed over. And then we're going to ask Conor McGregor, as soon as he's the president of Ireland, if we can please have Ireland, and he'll say, oh, heavens, yes, we hate those dadgum Brits. And so that comes to us, so put a circle and a cross through Ireland for the king. We're closing in on the king even more. This is a race. Greenland, Canada, Ireland, Panama, basically Britain, yes. You can all get on this deal right now. We'll even do a twofer if it's a contiguous land connection between Scotland. And the deal is, in the end, Scotland's going to come, and the Highlanders are going to have their day, and Trump will rule the world from Highland. No, but basically, we want an expansionist president who keeps isolationist economy. This is the way it has to go.
No, what it is, we're proselytizing the U.S. Constitution, which is the most brilliant legal document ever written for humanity. And if we could all embrace it and live under it, then it would just be fantastic.
Now, I know you're going to think I'm getting a little carried away here, but I like to do that. So as soon as we close down the CIA, we poke 4 of the eyes out of 5 eyes. 5 Eyes was created after the war, World War II, or actually before it was even over, to control the resources again and reconstruction, and basically the plans of those who controlled the money. And everyone else suffered while the people at the top got made filthy rich. That's how we created these oil barons and these mega barons of commerce. Okay, so now, who created China? That would be Britain. Who still controls China? That would be Britain. China and their Central Committee thinks that they want to be like what Britain projects we're supposed to be, white imperialists. And so they try to skip over the advancement in commerce from basically a true trade economy and a barter economy to becoming a mega power and straight including socialism and communism at the same time. That's never going to work. That's why right now, folks, I'm the only one screaming this. I'll scream it nice and quiet. 65% of their economy was flushed down the toilet, according to the statistics from 1 year ago. Same for Russia. And Russia has basically now killed 400,000 or more of their youngest, brightest in this war. So put a circle and a hatch mark through both China and Russia, which are both controlled. And the communism in both of them were created and incubated in London. So, closing in again on the king. Now, here's the really sad one for the poor king. That as all this is closing in on him, we get Gaza, and it's going to become a great place to go and actually go there for vacation, okay? But all the British oil wells and the platforms and Leviathan will all be closed because Trump is going to screw them by simply turning off the port to receive the oil. And then, I'm sorry, the thing that will fell the monarch, because it's all about appearance. If you believe that King Charles, who married Kamala, is intelligent at all, then there's something extremely wrong with you, because she is one of the ugliest, meanest, nastiest things I've ever seen. And why he would give up Diana, literally a walking angel, for her, I just can't understand. But anyway, he did, and he's proud of it, and the whole country's proud of it. And they think being royal means that they have what's called the divine right of kings. They're directly connected to the Spirit, and everything they do is perfect. He is the Pope of the King of the Church of England. Don't forget that. So when he meets with the Pope, you know what he says to him? Hey, you know what? I'm the Pope of my own church. And the Pope looks at him and says, yeah, but I control the borders.
Been the struggle for all time, centuries, the English king and the Pope.
And the last straw that broke the poor King Fatfinger's back is that when the monarchy collapses, because they find out that all of the monarchy went to the Epstein Islands, not just one of them, and that Epstein delivered. And that Epstein was delivering to his favorite friend, Jimmy, and that the king is the worst pedophile and necrophiliac on the face of the earth, who is literally putting baby's blood into his veins to stay alive because he's so sick. And that's the reason he has kuru and his whole body is swollen. Now, if you want to talk about nasty, look at the British monarchy.
So is this what Kash Patel and Pam Bondi, why they can't release the Epstein files? Because it implicates the king and the royals?
They can't release it because, as Trump did in his first administration when he said he was going to release the JFK files, he bowed to the Five Eyes from one agent in Australia, a very top agent, who through Richard Dearlove was told to say that it would be releasing the names and the methods of active agents, and it can't still be released, which is, of course, nonsense. It's always the British working through the Canadians and the New Zealanders and the Australians when these things come through the Five Eyes. And so basically, and directly from Israel, directly from Unit 8200, they said you cannot release our methods that were involved in this because we were trying to save the day. We weren't trying to kill JFK. We were trying to point out to you that the Cubans, the CIA ran by Daddy Bush at the time, that the Office of White House itself through LBJ, and also the hit that was put upon JFK, that anybody would get $100,000 for killing the president, and here's his itinerary where he's going, and the exact path of his open air motor vehicle, which is driven all the way down there just so it could be open air. Okay, so this is complete nonsense. There were 4 people trying to kill him. One was effective, the other attempted. That's why there's multiple shots. There was someone on the hill. There was someone in the under the road in the sewage drain, and there was someone in the book building. Okay, and there was a 4th one who obviously we don't know anything about. Is that going to come out? No, none of that will come out. But what does come out is that the CIA was behind all of the funding, so the CIA has to be closed. The CIA is created to overthrow the executive branch of the United States of America. That's what it's created for. It does that in other countries. Why wouldn't it do it here? Who did they work for? They were created with, of course, the original intelligence agency of England, which later became MI5, MI6, GCHQ, and CIA. So CIA is a branch of the British. And it really doesn't have its headquarters in Washington, D.C. We don't even know what they do. We don't know what their budget is. They budget themselves. And how do they do it? By killing our young people through fentanyl, by sending invaders into the country so there's always chaos, so there's always justification for the CIA to be internationally involved everywhere, putting their fingers into every place there's money. That's what they do.
So the king is freaking out because the domestic enemies called the Senior Executive Service have been outed. USAID money stopped flowing. You've got the only thing left here are a bunch of activist judges that we all see through. We know that they're moving in unconstitutional and illegal ways. So what else is he going to do? Because now Trump is going to close the CIA. And they got Kash Patel over at the FBI keeping eyes and ears to this because Kash is there to make sure that the Brits are not implicated in all of this. So, I don't know the details of what might be going on there, but once you know the players, you see that the British, the royals, have run out of plays. They've been trumped.